Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I want to talk a little bit about ships, but I kind of want to put um uh, my guesses and my assumptions about what we're going to get in 2024 split up into two different videos. One about ships and one about features. So in today's video, I'm going to focus on ships, and then in a later video, I'm going to talk about what features I think we're going to get in Star Citizen. Obviously, I don't want this to be another 40-minute video, so let's get right into it. Now, CAG has said some things during CitizenCon and gave us a sneak peek of a few of the ships that they're working on. Basically, at the end of CitizenCon, uh, at the end of the ship section at CitizenCon, CIG kind of gave us some silhouettes of ships that are going to be coming out in the next 12 months. Okay, so kind of the first silhouette that they showed us was this kind of hover bike, and there was three of them. So more than likely there will be a new hover bike with different variants available. So I kind of have the Ranger here as a placeholder because we don't know what this ship is. It is currently unannounced. Personally, I don't think we need any more hover bikes. I think the thing about ships is that CIG should give us ships that allow us to explore different gameplay loops. So it really doesn't make all that much sense to have 5 or 10 ships that really focus on the same thing right now in this phase of development of the game. I really want to see CIG branch out into different gameplay loops to kind of allow us to test and experience different aspects of the game. Now, obviously, a hover bike is something that is a great way to introduce a new employee to the vehicle pipeline, and I know that CIG is adding new team members that are working on vehicles, and they have a whole new vehicle team in Montreal. So more than likely, these new hover bikes are going to be developed by them, and this would be kind of a good introduction to that. Now, another silhouette that we saw was an Ursa Rover. Uh, so this is more likely an Ursa Rover variant, kind of like the Lynx. A lot of people have speculated that this variant is going to be a medical variant. It is also quite possible that this is going to be like a crafting vehicle, because we did see in the base building and crafting section, there was kind of like this pushcart survey tool, and there was this base building attachment to the Atlas platform ground vehicle. And because the Galaxy is getting a base building module, I think CIG is going to have RSI be another industrial manufacturer. Like right now, RSI is kind of like, a manufacturer that kind of does a little bit of everything. But with the Galaxy and the Arastra and the Orion, I think CIG really wants to uh, have RSI be a little bit more industrial moving forward. Now, I think that might be, it might make sense, and it might make it easy for players to have like an entry level crafting vehicle, like a ground vehicle, if they're going to do this as the very beginning. Like, you could use this vehicle to make maybe furniture and things like that. The and that's based on what they showed at CitizenCon of them having a very entry level kind of base building or surveying thing. I think that using the Earth rover as that entry level platform makes a lot of sense. It's coming around $50. So if they have like a $50 crafting vehicle, that's going to be huge. That's going to be a massive seller. I Everyone would buy that ground vehicle. Kind of like how a lot of people buy the ROC from Grey Cat because it is a very uh, good money maker for the game. An Ursa Rover crafting vehicle would be huge. Next, we also saw an Argo NPU V variant without the box. So this more likely might have a tractor beam attached and be designed to allow players to manipulate cargo in their hangars for persistent hangars, instance hangars, whatever you have you, as boxes come up the cargo elevator. You might want a vehicle that can interface with those more than something like, again, the Argo Mule. Uh, it is a very cool ground vehicle, but I would prefer to see a ship do that. And I think that the Argo NPUV is a good platform to do that because you can use it in space. You could use it as it flies around, moving cargo from outpost locations. Because if you think about a situation like the new underground facilities, those are going to be massive locations. We've seen them have modest road networks. If you are buying from these locations and taking cargo from there, they show this, there's this hover platform. You can put boxes on that and move them into your ship, bringing something like the NPUV. Let's say you have a C2 and you're trading with a C2. You go to the UGF, you have an NPUV cargo inside of your C2. You fly it out, you manage the boxes into the C2. It might make things faster. I'm not sure, but this is going to be an NPUV variant without the box, and it will more likely be able to magnetize the cargo containers and move them, and it might also have a tractor beam. So I think this will also be a really big seller. I think a lot of people would, look at this as a good LTI token, and there's a huge fan base for the Argo cargo. The next thing we saw was a Mirai Fury heavy fighter, and a lot of people have kind of leaked images of this ship. I'm not going to show them here in this video for people who don't want spoilers. But that image is out there on Reddit and whatnot. You can find it if you want to. This would be a very, kind of that counter to the Scorpius. The Scorpius is kind of like the X-Wing heavy fighter. And so for Mirai to come up with their, TIE fighter kind of looking thing, I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about that, particularly because Mirai is a very maneuverable manufacturer. The Fury is a very maneuverable ship in combat. It has a lot of weapons. Now, if you put a heavy fighter and give it that kind of maneuverability, good firepower, and a little bit of shields and a quantum drive, that ship is going to be a huge seller. I'm not going to say it's going to be a meta ship right now because I really don't know anything about it. But if it has that type of maneuverability, if it has the visuals that we've seen from it, from the leaked image, I think a lot of people can be very excited about that ship. Okay. The next thing that we kind of saw from the silhouettes at CitizenCon was this very kind of like sleek ship. It looked kind of like the Zeus, but it was a little bit smaller in compared to the player character silhouette that was next to it. Okay, so I have kind of theorized this could be a number of different ships, but more than likely I'm thinking this is going to be kind of that next stage up as the crafting and base building ship. And I'm kind of have a Constellation Andromeda here as a placeholder, just because of the kind of Dorito shaped language that the silhouette had. I'm assuming it's going to be an RSI ship. And again, that kind of leads to my theory of CIG trying to push RSI in kind of a more of an industrial direction because of the Raster and the Orion, and the Galaxy's modules. I think a base building ship from RSI, especially if we get a crafting RSI rover. Again, this is all speculation. A lot of people are saying, it might be a medical RSI rover. I think a crafting Ursa rover would be a lot more interesting personally, because I don't think the medical gameplay is there yet. But I think if this ship is a crafting ship, doesn't necessarily have to be a base building ship, but a crafting ship where you can work with ships like the Vulture. You can take RMC and construction materials, and you can build structures or items or craft anything. It might have, again, some type of dispenser on board. This might also be a Drake ship, because we know the Vulture has this ability. It has this kind of crafting thing inside of it. So this might be a Drake ship. Again, just based on the sleekness of the silhouette, I'm assuming it's an RSI ship, but it could be a Drake ship because we know Drake has that. It could also be an Aegis ship, because the Reclaimer is an Aegis ship. We don't know what manufacturer this ship belongs to right now, but I'm thinking it's kind of it makes sense for it to be a crafting ship. But based on the size, there is also a chance that it is actually the Apollo. Okay. We know that CIG also says that the Apollo is in production. They're working on it. I feel like this is another good ship for CIG to release. A lot of people are going to be interested in the medical gameplay loop. I think with this ship, it's gonna make sense to have for silver meshing, for pyro, for these larger systems, for orgs, to kind of use this as their medical, ship that they use in uh, um, kind of milsim situations, fleet battle type situations, practice situations. If it has the ability to respawn players, you can have an Apollo nearby, and you can really just focus on combat ships. And instead of respawning at a station or something, you just respawn on the ship and go back and do your thing. Right now, again, medical is not in a great place. I think that because they increased the time to kill, though, you're starting to see a lot more injuries and a lot less automatic deaths. And in that sense, that gameplay mechanic is welcomed. The longer time to kill, especially for players that aren't as skilled. I've noticed it. I've gotten into sticky situations, and instead of dying, I have an injury, and I'm able to heal myself. And yeah, for players like that, that longer time to kill is going to mean more injuries, is going to mean that there might be a greater call for medical players. So I think with that gameplay that they're trying to introduce, having this ship come now in 2024 makes a lot of sense. Okay, and kind of the next thing I want to talk about real quick is the G12. We know that CIG, they had a during Invictus, they had a all hands ship roundtable, and they kind of talked about ships that were currently in development. That's when they talked about the Apollo being in development. They also spoke about the G12. Now, it makes sense for them to also introduce the G12 as well, because this is a fully enclosed ground vehicle, and the standard G12 has the ability to carry, I believe, one SU boxes. So with the cargo refactor, all of the gameplay should be in place, and I say should be in place for them to be able to introduce these ships. I mean, these ground vehicles, because the G12A, it just has missiles, no cargo. But again, it's fully enclosed with atmosphere. And the G12R is just a racing ground vehicle. This would be perfect for the Daymar Rally in 2025. So, releasing it sometime middle of the year kind of makes sense, and these would make good LTI tokens. Again, I don't think these should be too expensive. I'm thinking they'll come in under $60. So I do think people will buy this because, again, you'll have the ability to carry one SU box with the standard G12, and it has an interior, so you don't have to worry about suffocating, or you can take a drink or do whatever you want. From the images, it does look like on the inside it will have things like the modern amenities like a weapons rack and removable components and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Next, don't want to move that yet. I want to talk a little bit about Legionnaire, Retaliator, and Derailing. So in the silhouettes that CIG showed at CitizenCon, we saw a shape that looks, basically obviously like the Legionnaire. In my opinion, it doesn't make too much sense for CIG to try to bring the ship out, but I think they're doing it in relationship to the larger ships that are coming, and to work on the technology to have the ship-to-ship docking. Again, it's one of those things that exists with the Merlin, the P-52 and the Andromeda, but it is not the docking port technology. So ship-to-ship docking port, that is not in the game yet. So the way that I imagine it is that there is a possibility for ships to dock with each other using this kind of tunnel. But I don't know if that will be, again, bespoke to Legionnaire. We know that ships can dock to stations, but conventional ship-to-ship docking, we don't know what that looks like yet. The Legionnaire could be the test bed for that if CIG, decides somewhere down the road that they want to be able to enable that feature for other ships to dock with each other. So I think it does make sense from that standpoint to be able to test the functionality of the technology. I don't know if this is coming with hacking or any other kind of gameplay. So the real big question is, what is the player base going to do with this ship when it comes out? Are there going to be missions? Are you going to be able to board NPC ships? It would be amazing if there were NPC missions where we could do NPC boarding with this ship, but more than likely, pirates are just going to use this thing to attack players. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is going to lead to a lot of emergent gameplay. But for me, I don't know if this ship is worth it just yet, but I do think we're going to get it this year. Next thing is the Retaliator base. To me, this is kind of a no-brainer. We already have Retaliator in game. CIG said that they have modularity working now because of the Hull C. The Hull C's whole cargo grid that extends from the back, that is a module. The actual ship is the front end, and that the way they got it to work was essentially how they're having modularity. So you can control this and do all the things. So we saw a couple of modules for the Retaliator base. It does have like a habitat module and different things, but they didn't sell any modules. I believe there might be some players who have modules for this ship. Let me know if you're one of those players. I know right now we have the bomber variant, and I've kind of talked about this in previous videos. I don't know if we are going to see that separation or if the bomber version is going to be bespoke. Again, cost wise, it might hurt the Retaliator bomber for CIG to sell the bombing module separately. So I do personally think that the Retaliator bomber is going to remain its own ship, and you're not going to be able to equip the bombing module to the base, which would suck. But again, that ship is so much more expensive than the base that I don't see people buying the module separately or CIG doing that. So more than likely it will be other modules that we get with the base. But I also don't think it makes sense for CIG to sell the base without any modules. I just don't know what modules we're getting with this ship. But if this is the test bed for modularity, that means the galaxy is not too far away, and perhaps even the caterpillar. Oh, my brain. The Drake Caterpillar is another module ship. So the Retaliator base is going to be a good test bed for that. So I think that's why they're trying to make that come online. Okay. So then things are going to get a little bit more interesting with Derailing. Okay. We know that Derailing has work completing, I believe, around February, March. So it would make a lot of sense for CIG to try to get this ship ready for Alien Week 2024, sometime spring, summer. This is also, a pretty large cargo ship, which would be good for pyro and, silver meshing if CIG is able to get that in for summer 2024. Again, a lot of speculation there. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the features video. But yeah, I think we're gonna get the Derailing in 2024. I could be completely off base on this one. This is kind of like my wild card right now. I do know that work on it is finishing this year, but work finishing on a ship isn't indicative of that ship being added into the game. It might need more work before it can be added. But CIG has been dropping hints about it with the Squadron 42 trailer and whatnot. So I think there's a pretty good chance that we see this ship this year, and that's going to be a big seller as well, in my opinion, because it's decent cargo. It looks like it's going to have good maneuverability and firepower. And again, it's got that alien styling and flair that if the Sulin is anything to go by, this is going to be a very attractive and very unique ship. Okay, and then we zoom out here a little bit, and obviously, I keep accidentally clicking on the Idris, but next thing I want to talk about is Zeus. Okay, so we recently got a sneak peek of the Zeus. Now in white box, we got a pretty decent walkthrough of the Zeus at CitizenCon in white box, so we know that this ship is in, at the very least, white box state. It shouldn't take too much longer. The white box version of this ship looks done, so really what's next is probably gray box. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this ship around IAE 2024 or maybe even sooner, like summer this year. Because this is not a difficult ship for them to bring out. Again, all of the tech in these ships are already in game. The interdiction technology is in game for the MR. The ES doesn't really have any, specific bespoke features. It, has more shields and whatnot. And then the CL is a cargo ship. So really, this is just them. They have to work on the physical asset to be added to the game, the damage models, the texture mapping, the VFX, stuff like that, polishing it up. I don't think that should take too long. And in my opinion, this is going to be a priority for CIG because a lot of people showed a lot of interest in this ship. And when we went over the financials in the previous video, which you guys should take a look at, they basically stated that their biggest moneymaker for 2022 and 2023 was playable ships and starter package. People want the playable ships. People want to get in the game. They want to get into the PU and experience everything. They're not so interested in concept ships anymore. So I think that's why John Crew really wanted to shift the focus away and the teams away from that concept stuff a little bit and to work on a little bit more deliverables. He kind of talked about the Banu Merchantman, and the reason why he didn't really want to put a whole lot of people on that is because it really would have taken a lot of the team members away from being able to actually deliver. And actually delivering ships is where the big money is at. The concept ships aren't huge sellers. And although the Banu Merchantman is amazing, and I can't wait for it to come out, I know that those resources are gonna be better spent on having team members learn the ropes, bringing in new people to expand the team to get the skill set to work on a ship like the Banu Merchantman. And the Merchantman is gonna, be better for it. Now, then we have the Polaris. Now, a lot of people are skeptical of this ship coming out in 2024, but they did show it off in CitizenCon in silhouette form as one of the ships that is slated to come out in the next 12 months. So, if we believe CIG, this is slated to come out this year. I'm thinking later this year. It is currently in white box. They did show us a full white box walkthrough of the ship at CitizenCon. This ship is going to be a huge um draw for people. A lot of people are going to want to pick this ship up. A lot of people who already own this ship are very excited about it coming out in game. This ship has already all of the features and technology that in game they don't need to design or make anything new to bring it online. Um, it's just a big ship. It's got torpedoes. It's got lots of guns. It's got a hangar. I know every org is gonna want a few of these, honestly. And with Pyro having that ship hangar there, that's just gonna be a huge thing. I think we're gonna get it at the end of 2024. I'm fairly certain about that. Okay, and then the Idris. Now, CAG said that the Idris is gonna come out with Squadron 42. So if Squadron 42 comes out this year, uh, you know, I, I'm gonna, reserve that for my predictions video for the next video. But I do think there is a good chance that Squadron 42 comes out this year. I don't want CAG to rush the parsing phase, but from what I saw at CitizenCon, it seems pretty far along, and I think CIG wants to get it out of the door so they can really focus on the PU. Strictly speaking, there's kind of nothing stopping them from adding DLC to Squadron 42 or anything like that. So I don't know what their plans are, because initially I think that what they're gonna do, and again, this is just my opinion, is that they're gonna release it for PC, and then they're gonna later on announce it for consoles, probably 2025. This is, again, I'll talk more about this in my prediction, the next video, predicting the features and stuff like that. But I think their strategy is going to be PC first, consoles later. And if they're gonna do a split release, releasing the PC version first might give them, the ability when they release it for consoles to do, some type of HD remaster for PC or something like that when they release it for consoles. So I don't know. Who knows what they're gonna do with Squadron 42? But if it comes out this year, we're definitely getting the Idris. This ship is done. We know it's done because it's in Squadron 42. So again, nothing crazy there. It's just a big ship with a big hangar and a big railgun. Now, that is kind of gonna be it. These are all the ships that I think are coming out this year, that we're gonna get. Obviously, there's also a couple of wild cards in there. People are speculating about Galaxy because of base building and whatnot. I don't think we're getting the Galaxy this year. That's a big ship. I think they're gonna want to get the Polaris out before that so they can nail down the design language and the assets to be able to do that. So I think the Galaxy is going to come out after. The Galaxy also has a lot of large modules. I think they're going to want to get the Retaliator base out first to test out the modularities on a smaller ship first. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. There are a lot of ships that we are slated to get in 2024. There are also a couple of unannounced ships. I really don't know what those ships could be. But leave your speculations and comment down below. I really want to hear from you guys. What do you think is going to come out in 2024? I really don't have any wildcard predictions because, again, there's just so much ships on this list already that if CIG is able to bring out any more flyables, I'd be surprised. Obviously, there are probably going to be at least 2 concepts this year, so that's also something to look forward to. But it's going to be a year jam-packed with ships. So yeah, that's going to be it from me here today in this video. Just a little bit of blind speculations and my predictions for 2024. It makes sense to get this out of the way right at the top of the year before CIG drops anything. They're on hiatus right now. They should be back towards the end of the month or early February, and that's going to be exciting. So yeah, exciting year, a lot to look forward to. I want to thank you guys for watching this video and hanging out with me here again. You guys have been amazing. Obviously the channel has been growing so much. I cannot thank you guys enough. So, like I say at the end of all these videos, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Salute.